That was the kind of the human that really helped me and changed my life. So that's the thing. It's finding ways to tell dealers, no, you're wrong, without saying, no, you're wrong.
It's funny. Of the things we will do, we will put a male dealer in his place when he's doing something wrong, and men won't do that.
And they love it, by the way. Like street cred. Once you have the credibility to say what needs to be said, and people need to hear. It's why women should run the world anyway. I don't think I ever meet anybody who I don't connect with on LinkedIn. All of those people, if you meet somebody, connect. Send a connection request. You can often put the message in, whether you've got the LinkedIn, fancy pants version or just basic. It doesn't matter. Because make connections, find your people. Send a note to somebody that says, hey, I saw you speak at this Lexus OEM conference and I really enjoyed it. Hope you have a good day.
Welcome back to another episode of the I'm a Car Chick podcast. And you already know it's the Women in Automotive edition because we're in Women in Automotive Conference season. I am so excited to talk with you guys today and bring you a very special guest, one of our speakers at the upcoming conference. Please help me welcome Erin Zaborac. Did I get your last name right?
It's Zaborac, but I will answer for anything. No, it's fine.
I feel awful about that. I normally ask ahead of time and I quickly realized that I didn't. Oh, I hate that. I'm so sorry, Erin.
Pop quiz. It's the way to get into it. Totally fine.
That's fair. Welcome to the show today. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for Women in Automotive, and this is a fun way to kick it off.
Have you been to one of the conferences before?
No, I have been dying to go. In fact, I think I was probably one of the first people to submit my speaker application, like aggressively early. That's how excited I was.
Then you hammer like, Joe.
I really did. I think I drove him up. We play fantasy football together too. So nice. I hit him up on the trade wires.
Man, I gotta keep an eye out for who I want on my fantasy team this year. Yeah. Whole other conversation, but good conversation to have. Tell us a little bit about you, how you got your start in automotive. We were talking offline and you got an early start.
I did get a very early start. I was 15 years old. My aunt was the title clerk at the local Nissan Subaru dealership, and they needed a file clerk for 2 weeks. So I came in, I finished the job in about 2 days, and they said, do you want to stick around? And I did. And it's kind of like the mafia automotive. Once you get in, you never get out. I tried to get out for a little bit, not really. I went to college. So I'm from Washington State. And I went to college in Las Vegas, but every summer I'd come back. I was a receptionist, cashier. I did express service, helped launch internet parts. So I would just kept coming back. I worked at the Mirage for a few years, but I missed automotive desperately. So I moved home, went to F&I school, finance. It wasn't the exact right fit for me. And that's when BDCs kind of became a thing. And they said, hey, try this. So I moved a phone and computer into an empty building. And it's kind of really when my career started. So I've been in the industry 30 years now. You can do the math and tell me that I look fantastic and it's great. No, it's been a long time.
What an interesting start. And you were going to college at the same time. Were you going to UNLV?
I was. So I thought I wanted to be a finance manager my whole life. I grew up in the dealership. That job looked great, and then I went to school. I thought finance manager, finance major, right? Same thing. Not the same thing, not even a little bit. So when I just finished to get done with school, got my degree, and then I came home and I did get to be an F&I manager, but figured out it wasn't the right fit for me. I'm a great lead driver. I'm a terrible closer. And I learned that about myself real fast, and that's okay. But that's when I went back to school to get my MBA. And that's when we started kind of building the BDC. So as part of the thing I'm going to talk about at Women in Automotive is sometimes your path that you thought you were going to take changes, and you've got to change with it.
Your title of your session is going to be Scenic Routes and Side Roads, the Automotive Career Path. And it sounds like you've had an interesting path. So starting off in the office, thinking you're going to go to finance, doing a little bit of finance, then kind of roadheading a BDC, like that's such an interesting path, like going from one place to the other and then having all of that knowledge. So many people don't have that knowledge when they start doing BDC. Do you feel like it helped you or almost hurt you at times? Because you're like, oh, I'll do this whole deal right now.
Oh, so much. And even to this day, I think the job that actually prepared me most for my career was being a receptionist, because that person in your dealership runs the show, if you don't know, because they are taking every customer call. They're hearing something from every group. And truly, they're kind of weaving it together to find out how everything works and to help dispatch. And they run the place, I will always say. So having all that automotive experience, my fixed ops experience too, has been so helpful in marketing. Our fixed ops friends are often forgotten just because sales is so important. But my path, I called it Scenic Routes and Side Windy because it hasn't been straight. And I think for so many of us, it isn't. And that's okay. It just it's going to work out. Everybody, you're going to be fine. But it's finding out what you're good at along the way and where you want to go. And those two things don't necessarily always line up. So identifying your priorities. I've got a lot of stuff. I'm going to try to be a storyteller, which I've never done this kind of session before. But I think these conversations are really important. So I'm so excited about it.
Well, it's definitely sparked my curiosity as somebody who's been in so many different realms, BDC, social media, marketing officer, all of the freaking things, COO. And, it makes me wonder, like, I'm only 30. And so like, I still have so much automotive career left. And it's funny, the comment you made about how it's like the mafia. So a lot of people will come on and say, I never really meant to join the automotive industry, but I never got out. You are definitely the first to mention it's like the mafia, and it's a perfect analogy.
Yeah, you can't, you could try to leave. Usually it won't let you, because I've seen people who find careers outside. It's boring. It's not as fun. I did a little bit of work with my last group on some non-automotive initiatives, and it just wasn't as fun. It wasn't exciting. Auto is something different every day, and it's truly impacting the second biggest purchase of their lives all the time. And you get to drive that. Merchandising and marketing for clothes and all fun, great work, but cars, like, that's the big time. So I love it. I don't think I ever would leave. It would take quite a lot, but I think a lot of people are like that.
I feel like it's because every week feels like a new job.
Yeah.
Like, the industry changes so much, even from week to week, that what your job was last week is not what your job is this week.
Totally.
And what's hilarious is I actually was thinking about this earlier today when I was thinking about like a bio that I have on like one of my social media sites or something. I'm like, God dang it, I just wrote that a month ago and it's already like not completely relevant.
I know, when I was submitting everything, I'm looking and I'm like, okay, well, nope, I got to change that. I got to update that in a fun way. But yeah, so it's choose your own adventure a little bit, or I've gotten to be, I'm now with DealerOn, which has been so fantastic. I came over, they acquired the website business from Ansira. And I came over, and what a perfect fit, but being able to kind of build from scratch again what we're doing. So hosting webinars now, DealerOn, I remember way back in the day, DealerOn doing fantastic webinars, and now we are again as thought leaders. So it's exciting to be able to build your own path. And that's what automotive allows for so many of us.
This episode is brought to you by Epic BDC, your number one outsourced BDC solution. Learn more about Epic BDC by checking out the link in the bio. Yeah. What's something, big in marketing that you're keeping your eyes on right now? And I know that's going to be different for every company, but, overall.
Well, I think the thing that we try to focus on with our marketing at DealerOn, and something that I'm going to talk about actually in my session, is to always be helpful. I can shout every day about how fantastic we are and look at our beautiful websites, all true. But I remember being the dealer. I remember reading these things. I need help. I need to get better. I need to sell more cars. So if what you're telling me isn't going to help me do that, it's kind of in one ear, out the other. So we focus a lot on thought leadership, a lot on really supporting our dealers, not just with building their website, but building a website to perform. Strategic recommendations. We have partnerships out there with other vendors to make sure that your sites are going to be fast. We can shove stuff on our website, but we have an obligation to the dealers to make sure it's going to be fast as well. So it's really how we operate as good partners. And again, I think just as women in automotive, as anybody in automotive, if you're not being helpful first, anything you're doing second is going to lose that value.
Right. Well, and what's curious is it takes a little bit of forward thinking. Like a lot of dealers don't know how to ask for help. Like they know their problems and they don't know that you know how to solve them or that you have the tools to solve them. And so they're really, really bad at asking for help. And so it takes a lot of forward initiative to, okay, what issues are you having? Let me see how I can fix them.
100%. And when I started the BDC, it was before LinkedIn really took, it was before, I'm aging myself, but there weren't so many fantastic networking. There wasn't Women in Automotive. I think I went to Digital Dealer 5, I can't remember the first one I ever went to, but that ability to learn, and I didn't know where to go. I'll remember I was at a Nissan store and there was a digital marketing consultant and he was with Nissan. I never knew this person. They just came on in and said, "Hey, I'm here to help." I grasped onto that person like none other. And I emailed, I followed up, I called. So that's my other tip, and something I'll be talking about is find those people. Most of the OEMs have fantastic consulting teams. It is their job to help support your digital marketing journeys. So it's finding them, finding your people on LinkedIn. I mean, you're going to conferences, things like that. It's so important. Anybody who thinks they've got it figured out and doesn't need to learn from anybody else is not someone I'm interested in talking to at all.
No, especially with, like I said, with how much the industry changes. Like I get frustrated. I see, I mean, obviously I work in the BDC space and I saw someone on LinkedIn, it was a few months back, like somebody who very much has not been in the dealership game for any time recently. And were trying to like scald somebody on their BDC processes. And they were completely wrong with what BDC looks like nowadays. And I'm like, you are not still a BDC expert unless you're immersing yourself in. And I'm not one to be judgy. Like everybody is cut from a different cloth. Like, we all have the same tips, tricks, and tools that we use. But like, it was completely wrong advice. And I was like, why are you out here spouting you're an expert if you haven't been in the game for 15, 20 years?
No, I can't handle that. Half my career was in dealerships and the second half here is not. And I'm very aware of the amount of time I've spent outside of dealerships. So I make a big deal of if I'm going to recommend something or if we're going to put something out there as a strategy, I better know that that's going to work for dealers because there's so many things. I mean, my least favorite things to hear are, "Oh, just sell one more car. This will pay for that." Things like that. Just get them in. BDCs. "Oh, just get them in. It's my favorite."
Oh my God.
I want to strangle somebody. That clearly means you've never had to call an internet lead or take a cold call from the dealership. So
especially in 2025,
100%. Oh, try that. Just try it.
And what's funny is I tell at NADA I was talking in ADA I was talking to a couple of different well-known BDC experts, and I said, I'm going to be sharing my strategy soon, but I'm going to get knocked by a lot of BDC experts out there because it goes against everything they say, but it's what's working right now. Like we're moving away from the traditional BDC model because that's no longer working. The just get them in does not work anymore.
There's too much information online that customers can find themselves. It's the same challenge with how do you merchandise your SRPs and your VDPs. You can't play the games anymore. They just don't work. You have to be transparent. You have to give that information. And the dealers who embrace that and find the ways to truly partner with customers in their shopping journeys, those are the dealers that succeed and do better. I mean, it feels common sense, but there are a lot of people who've been in the industry for, a long time, which for us, it's a blessing, but for others, it can be a big curse.
Yeah. And it can really hurt them. I mean, we've seen that. So you've gone over 2 of your 3 tips so far, but I really love the third one and I really want you to dive into that. I believe the third one, yes. Always working.
Yes.
And that goes hand in hand.
I don't think I ever meet anybody who I don't connect with on LinkedIn after. So I think, OEMs have regional conferences, we're at Buick GMC Roadshow right now. DealerOn's been going around the country. All of those people, if you meet somebody either in an educational, setting or somebody you just see on LinkedIn that is posting information that is valuable to you, connect, send a connection request. You can often put the message in, whether you've got the LinkedIn, fancy pants version or just basic. It doesn't matter, because if I'm connecting with you, or if I see a dealer connection, I'm 100% always. I mean, you see the ones where it's people trying to sell you things and, fine, you can skip those, but make connections, find your people, send a note to somebody that says, hey, I saw you speak at this Lexus OEM conference and I really enjoyed it. Hope you have a good day. That's it. I just got a message this morning, I kid you not, from a dealer who, he has a DealerOn website, and they were talking to their customer success manager. Says, hey, I met Erin a few times at these conferences. Can you ask her to give me a call? I remember the guy 100% from everywhere I met him. I don't know what he needs, but I'm going to call him later. But that's the kind of thing I love. I love finding people who I met 10 years ago. I see they're in a new role. If they've got something new and exciting to share, LinkedIn is your friend. But outside of LinkedIn, I think people are so quick, just in general, to spew, you're in social market, you get it. I'll tell you negative every day of the week. Here we go, send real fast, keyboard warriors. Send the nice notes, send the thank yous, just send the questions. Find a dealer friend from across the country outside your PMA who, hey, I'm trying this. Does this work for you? We have our DealerOn webinars, and the chat section is crazier sometimes than the section, going off. It's busier because dealers are sharing information, asking questions. So honestly, just find people, because automotive, it is such a small world, and these people are going to cross your path again and be beneficial to you, and you'll be beneficial to them.
You will never know who the people know.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. I love that.
I was like crafting in my head. I'm like,
it's a saying.
It makes sense in my head.
It's totally true.
Did you know that there's a monthly newsletter where you can keep in touch with everything the I'm a Car Chick podcast is up to? There is. Check out the show notes below, and you can also follow us on all social media and stay in tune with whatever we're up to. Yeah, and it's funny. I tell people all the time when I go to conferences, like a lot of times as a vendor, vendors will be dealer hunting, is what I call it. And if you've ever left a conference, you're like, oh my God, I met so many great, wonderful people, but I can't tell you one of their names. Like it all just escapes you. Like the second you leave, you're in vapor lock. And especially with dealers, when they're being pitched by so many different things and they know all of these are really good products, like I don't use my time at conferences to attack dealers.
No.
I use my time at conferences to meet with vendors.
Right. And just connect, because I'll tell you one thing. DMSC was the last conference I attended in person. I spent that time just meeting people and listening, and I was there to learn, but I connected with people on LinkedIn. I didn't pitch one person, but several reached out to me asking for information. So again, it goes back to be helpful, be genuine, be transparent, but be networking. And networking doesn't mean selling. It means connecting, truly.
Yeah. And especially on the always be helpful part, like I've said it plenty of times before, like the whole reason that this podcast was started was because I knew the struggles of trying to get help and not finding it. When I started in remote BDC, I reached out to several of my friends in the BDC world who flat out refused to help me because they saw me as competition, or other remote BDCs that again would not help me because they saw me as competition. And that's not how it should be. I don't even care if you're starting up your own remote BDC that's going to compete directly with me. I will tell you all of the things that I have failed at, the things I've succeeded at. Like, I am more than happy to share my knowledge with you. Like, it's how we have to be.
You have to, but that will help you. So when I grew up working at one dealership for 15 years, or however many years, it's all a blur, but I got laid off actually. It was when the economy hit, a lot of things. And I thought I was going to work there my whole life. I had no plans of ever leaving. But now suddenly I was 20 something years old and I needed a job. I had been mentoring another dealer about an hour away on BDC. As soon as they found out that I was without a job, they snatched me up. I didn't have to do the job hunt. I have so many stories of networking. I mean, and then when I left that dealership and I joined Cobalt, I never burned a bridge. And everything always comes back, where when I applied for my job at Cobalt, the place where I was laid off from, they called them as a reference. And because I left on good terms, because I was still helpful and, just networking and stayed in contact with people, everything worked out. So truly being helpful, it's going to benefit you just as much as the people you're helping.
Absolutely. And I want to touch on the always be learning. I think that's a very important topic where if you're not somebody who's well connected yet, maybe you haven't gotten in the conference space, you don't know a lot of the tools and resources out there, where would you start? Like trying to learn or trying to gather resources at?
Yeah. So you think I work for LinkedIn at this, but honestly, LinkedIn is the easiest and best places. There's forums, there's groups that are fantastic. Asodu, Brian Pash post fantastic information. Get in the chat. I'm not saying slide into the DMs. I mean, you do you, but get involved in the conversation. Ask the question, make the comments, and then look at the other people, connect with them. Conferences are a fantastic way, but understanding that not every dealer is going to send their humans who work there to a conference. It's just not in budget for places for everywhere. So there's online forums, podcasts like yours, just listen and learn. But it really, listening and learning is one thing, but then stepping into it and getting involved, that's how you're going to take yourself to the next level, because you will make yourself better by speaking up and getting a part of the conversation.
How would you say, if we're looking to, I highly recommend if you work at a dealership that you talk to your manager about a conference budget, get a budget to attend conferences, however many a year. But how would you help someone who wants to start attending conferences but doesn't know where to start and reviewing like the agenda or whatever for a conference to figure out if it's the right fit for them?
That's exactly what I was going to suggest is, as much as we are selling customers on cars, you've sometimes and very often got to sell your management team on your ideas. So learning how to pitch them is just as important as pitching a customer. And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's look at the agenda, plan out if you were going to be there. This is the session I'm going to go to. This is what I'm going to take away. This is what I plan. And then have a plan for what you're going to do post-conference, because it's great to go. You say hello, you take a bunch of notes, you get back to your desk and go, all right, here we go. Don't know what I'm going to do with all this. No, you've got to have an exit strategy on what to do post-conference with implementing it. And if you can show your general manager, your dealer, this is what I'm going to gain. I'm not, take this money out of this budget and this is where we're going to go. And truly show it. I mean, 20 groups are another opportunity for that. There's so many digital 20 groups with NADA and CM that are fantastic out there. So conferences, 20 groups might be a more feasible way. And one that I think dealers are more, especially dealer principals, are more familiar with is really, and saying, I want to learn from my peers. I want to understand and I want to execute is the big thing. So, I think the idea of sending somebody to a conference, dealers will sometimes think, well, I'm just going to send you and then you're going to come back and we'll be done. No, here's what I'm going to do with this info. So checking out that agenda and making a game plan, a strategy, that's a fantastic way.
It is huge. And I think that it's something that I wish more dealers and more bosses in general, even on the vendor side, would invest in their teams more, because they know, maybe not on the dealer side, but the vendor side know that, you're successful because of your network and who you know and who can connect you with other dealers, that we should be finding a way to invest in all of our team and sending them to conferences or connecting them with our friends on social, like on LinkedIn, making those connections for them. Hey, so-and-so is trying to learn more about BDC and I couldn't think of anybody better to connect them with than you, or marketing or whatever it is. Like, you have a huge connection. And the more that we share it down, the more we're increasing our leadership and our leaders. Oh,
totally. And if you need to start small, a lot of the OEMs are having digital conferences that are much more regional versus, having to fly to Vegas or to New Orleans or wherever it's going to be. So look for those, talk to your OEM reps, talk to those Shift Digital reps, the Auto Data, the JD Power, all the teams out there. Make those friends. That person better know your cell number so you can text them. Find out what they're recommending. They have fantastic networks themselves, but GM's been doing these road shows I mentioned. I was at a Lexus one. I know Nissan's done them in the past. So many of these that can be just as beneficial, a little more cost effective, but versus virtual, you get in person with people that you can learn from. I think it's great.
That's something that is huge. And I heard a tiny little rumor that This episode is brought to you by SCP Agency, your one-stop shop for organic social media. Check them out by clicking the link in the show notes or visit scpagency.com. And this was back in January, so don't hold me to this, but that NADA was thinking of starting to do some regional stuff.
I would love that. I got to speak just with some 20 groups. My partner in crime, Colleen Harris, one of my work wives. That's something else, I think, with something you need. You need a work wife. You need a work husband. But we got to speak at some 20 groups. And just sitting in that room with those dealers was fantastic. So if they do some regional stuff too, I think it could be great. I'm attending the NCM Friends and Family. I think that's what it's called, the conference, their first conference in September.
Okay.
And I'm really excited about that one because I think it's going to be very dealer-centric education. I'm just there to listen and learn. I'm not speaking at that one, so I'm very excited for that. But some more regional stuff by these groups who do bringing to dealers together well, I think is going to be fantastic.
Well, and that's something that we implored last year with Women in Automotive because, I mean, heck, you know, our annual conference is usually in summer. And so if people are on vacation, they can't make it that week. They don't get that for 2 years. Like if they went to the last one and then they can't make it to the year after, like that's a 2-year gap that they have to wait to get that networking in or get that level of love in. And so we started up those regional socials and they're huge.
I know. I'm waiting for Seattle. I'm waiting for my travel to align. They look so fun. No, I have seen those, the mentorships and those programs I think are fantastic. But yeah, making it more accessible to people. But I mean, a good Zoom meeting is a good Zoom meeting ever since COVID too. So finding ways to connect. And if you're not seeing a regional thing or you're not seeing something that works well, as you start to make these connections, start your own. Start your own group meeting of the minds once a month if you need to on Zoom with some people that you've connected with. And I mean, be a pioneer. Who knows? Maybe you are the next big thing and you're starting your own conference and group. So, if you don't see what you want, find it and make it yourself.
Exactly. I can't do it any better than that. I'm going to assume I already know the answer to this, but what is the best way for people to connect with you?
Oh my gosh. Well, definitely LinkedIn. Of course, that's the easiest way. We have DealerOn, our monthly webinar series. So you can register on DealerOn.com. We've got info on that. And you probably just see me at a conference somewhere. So you better come up. And if I ever meet you, I expect to see that LinkedIn connect request there within the next 24 hours.
I feel like we're already connected on LinkedIn.
I just started getting nervous you and I are not, and that I already didn't follow my own advice. Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm like, I feel like we've been connected.
I see your stuff. I mean, I see your podcast and I follow all that stuff, but now human to human, I don't know. Putting me on the spot.
I just said,
well, you know why? Because sometimes I've got that follow, like you can follow people versus connect. Yeah. It's so confusing. I do both. It's important.
I don't know why they switched to doing that.
I don't know.
Other than people were, I think, maxing out, like, did you max out on connections?
I don't know, but I was following people and I forgot that you need to go through the extra step to connect. But as long as you're following and you see the info, like you're good. You're good.
What other conferences do you plan to attend this year other than Women in Automotive?
Oh, let's see. So Women in Automotive. I am going to be in Seattle and Portland at the Buick GMC Roadshow. I am doing NCM. I'm going to be a digital dealer. 2 of my coworkers are speaking. I'm not speaking at that one. I'm sure something else will come up there towards the end of the year. But then NADA, I'm going to be speaking on fixed ops digital marketing. I know I mentioned it earlier, but our service and parts friends deserve some love online. So we got to get some best practices there too.
Did you just like slyly mention you're speaking at NADA?
It's the first time. I'm.
That is huge.
I'm very excited. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm very excited. I think that's the other big thing that I hope to communicate during my Women in Automotive speaking engagement is I never expected this. I never thought this is who I would be. I didn't know this is what I would be good at. I had no idea. But I just kind of fell into it. And once I did, I embraced it. And I have really just tried to put myself out there more than I ever have. I never thought I'd get accepted at NADA, but here we are. I think I helped with the fixed ops topic. I think that they were like, oh, we don't get a lot of that. So listen, I mean, don't hate the player, hate the game. I did what I had to do. But it's really exciting. And I think it's okay to celebrate too, to stop and say, hey, this is cool. Like, look what you've accomplished. Like, this is cool. And I'm doing a good job, damn it. Like, I'm going to embrace it.
Yeah, it is hard. And I think it's because I don't know if it's just a woman thing, but like we're so bad. I was talking to somebody about this earlier. Like we're so bad to brag on ourselves or be proud of ourselves. Like it seems like even when we make a big accomplishment, it's still like, well, why did it take me this long to do it?
It's no big deal. It's what I'm supposed to do, and I think it's a really big deal. I think, I have a 13-year-old daughter, so I'm trying to be much more intentional about saying positive things and avoiding negative talk and things like that. So I try to make it a bigger deal with women in automotive. I don't show her. I think she's bored with what she's a teenager. I don't care, Mom. But I said, look at this. Like, this makes me feel proud and I'm excited about this. And I think she said, slay, Mom. And that meant you're doing a great job. So I took it.
It's such a teenage thing. I have 2 teenagers at home. And I've tried to like show them the podcast and stuff before and like try to tell them like when I podcasted at NADA and got to interview the CEO of NADA and I'm like telling them it's a big deal and they're like, cool. Yeah. And this is their level. They found out that I also knew who Russ Flips Whips was and I love that guy. Do you know that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I have 9-year-old twin boys in addition to my daughter, and they still don't quite get it. They still think I sell cars, and I don't correct them because I do sell cars indirectly. I got to help people. Yeah. They're a little more interested, but not much. So I take the wins where I can get them.
If I think back to when I was younger, like I didn't know a lot about cars, and so I never would have thought like. I remember my first training day in a dealership, our manager, so the sales and BDC training were all the same. You were going through all the same training together. And in the beginning, our general manager at the time asked, how many calls should you make in a day? How many appointments should you set? And I was so naive. Like I was 19 years old. I didn't know anything. And I'm like, I'm going to make 200 calls a day and I'm going to set 50 appointments a day. And he just laughed at me and I'm like, what? And he's like, I appreciate your ambition, but no.
You're hard. I know. You're little. Those were my favorite training conversations to have with dealers. Because listen, you're a 19-year-old. Explain the seasoned dealer principal who expects that from his team, right? That was my favorite exercise to do was do the math. Okay. How many, and you can back into it, you can front load it, but let's take how many hours are in a day and work backwards. So
you've made it this far, and I have to say thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to rate the show, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, and of course on all social media channels. Light it up.
So you still feel like that number is attainable? Oh, not so much. Let's adjust our goals then. Yeah.
Oh, you got up to go pee? Oh, well, You're going to have to make 16 extra dials now.
Oh, gosh.
That's one of those things that when I hear any dealership that's talking about, oh, well, this is what we're currently expecting out of our BDC. And I'm like, no wonder they're failing.
Right. Do you hate them? You must hate them, right?
Right.
No. Or
you're tracking outbound calls, but not outbound texts. What?
Right. The internet managers who need more leads. I need more leads. How many are you getting? Oh, 300 a month myself. Oh, you don't need more leads. You need to do a better job with what you have. So yeah, the training, that's the part, I was a consultant in store for a long time. And that was my favorite job I ever had, just going to the different places and sitting and listening, because that was the kind of the human that really helped me and changed my life. So that's the thing. It's finding ways to tell dealers, no, you're wrong, without saying, no, you're wrong.
So many people won't, it's funny. Of the things that we won't hype ourselves up for, we won't ask for more money. Of the things we will do, we will put a male dealer in his place when he's doing something wrong, and men won't do that.
And they love it, by the way. Because honest to God, we have street cred. Once you have the credibility to say what needs to be said and back it up, people need to hear. It's why women should run the world anyway. It's because we know what needs to be fixed. Here's how to do it. And every dealer principal I've ever had that conversation with truly appreciates it. And yes, men should do a better job at us. They could take a note.
It's funny. I was supposed to be on I had a dealer call before this. I have a weekly call set up with one of my dealers at 2:30, and I got on at like 2:27 and stayed on until 2:38. And I'm like, okay, 2:38, no one's showing up. So I left the meeting. 2:41, I get a text message from one of the managers with a screenshot of the Google Meet meeting that I wasn't in there. And I'm like, I hop back in and I'm like, yeah, I stayed on until 2:38. I had a meeting to be at. The meeting is at 2:30, not 2:40.
Right.
Like,
come on.
If you're going to either let me know or like, please respect my time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think once you finding that way to stand up for yourself, I think the way I'm going to kick off my Women in Automotive speak session is it's a scene in Friends, and it's Rachel, and she goes in to talk to her boss, and she says, just so you know, I'm probably going to cry, and it's not because I'm mad or sad. It is just from having this conversation. And that is so true. I'm just an emotional human whatsoever. So figuring out how to harness the emotions, it's really important. I have not mastered it. I don't think I ever will. But the emotions aren't a bad thing, because showing you care, that seeps through in the conversation. And that's why it's so important. And that goes to respecting yourself. No, I was there, buddy. Like, what do you want me to do? Sit around and wait? Yeah. There's a way to say those things in a way that they want to hear it. So,
yeah. And it's funny, the part about mentioning the controlling the emotions, because I'm someone that very early on worked on that. Like that was one of my things that I'm like, okay, I never want to get caught crying. I never want to get caught like screaming at somebody. So I like tried to harness that crap really early on, to the point now where I think sometimes I'm almost emotionless, where I definitely shouldn't be. Like having, compassion for a coworker whose relative died. And I'm like, I'm the one person that doesn't like directly reach out and text them. I'm like, oh, I should have probably done that. Like I've almost cut it back too much. So I don't think emotions are a bad thing at all, but I love that preface of I'm probably going to cry or get mad, but just know it's not because of you or me. It's this conversation.
Just that I have to say the words out loud and have the conversation. I've gotten better. It's taken some time. I think it comes a little bit with age too, but I think that there are people, I don't know, I go back and forth. I'm either a total pushover or I am totally like heartless. You know what I mean? So it's finding that happy medium, because it's important. When you're a pushover, you get walked all over. Yes, I'll take that project. Yes, I'll take on too many things, and it's not good for you. That's hard. And I think too, with my career path, I haven't ever really applied for I'm a director level. I'm happy as a clam. I think it's the right fit for me right now and for my family. And having that conversation where I had an opportunity to do something that was a little outside of that was going to be just really difficult for my family, and understanding it was okay to say no, and that it didn't mean I was going to end my career. It didn't mean that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I think as women, you climb that ladder, keep going, shatter that glass ceiling. Like, yes, if that works for you and what you want. I've said for a really long time, I'm going to run the world, just not yet. I'm not quite ready yet. It's important for me to be home with my kids when they have events. DealerOn is fantastic. They are, we're a remote first place. Everybody's got kids. If you don't have kids, you don't, fine. But everybody does their own thing, get the job done. And that's what my family needed right now. And so, yeah, I might be a CMO one day. I might run the world. I haven't decided yet. And if I do, great. And if I don't, I'm still doing a good job. And that's okay.
You have plenty of runway left.
Whew, sometimes it feels that way. Sometimes it does not. I was at Great Wolf with my kids walking up and down those stairs. And so today it feels maybe like I have less time. But we'll see. That's why I can't sit still. I think my muscles are like questioning what I'm doing here. So
it's okay. I'm 30 and I feel the same way. Like I'm like, oh my God, if I don't become CEO, like right now, what's going to happen? I'm like, if I become CEO now, what do I do?
It's the pressure. It's the pressure. You think you're supposed to do it. And it's okay if you're happy where you're at. If you're not happy where you're at, that's a totally different story. But if you're happy in the position you have, it's the right fit and you're benefiting your company still. Because it's a two-way street. You don't just get to sit still in a job and not give it your all or not be the right fit.
Right.
If you're where you're supposed to be there. And it's okay.
100%. This has been really good conversation. It has me very much looking forward to your session at Women in Automotive. So count me in. I will be there. I'm pumped for Nashville. You already know I got my pink sparkly cowboy boots. I will be there.
I'm so excited. My 3 of my coworkers are coming with us, and we already have our itinerary from before and after the conference set in Nashville. It's a super fun place. So that's just another highlight, a reason to go.
I have not been as an adult, and I'm psyched.
Oh, get so excited. Oh, it's super fun. Even if you don't like country music, it's not your jam, you will love country music after you leave here. So,
yep. It's impossible not to.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait to see you there and share all of the love with you.
Excited to see you too.
All right, guys, be sure to check out Erin on LinkedIn. She is easy to find. I promise I found her very fast. All I had to do was type in Erin and she was right there. So find her, connect with her, and learn from her. And remember to always be networking. We'll catch you next time on the I'm a Car Chick podcast.